In this video you will learn a very effective and easy to learn game system against the London system. The proposed scheme consists of developing the pieces as in the King's Indian defense. A very flexible scheme of play that works against almost any opponent's opening. After the move d4, Black can play knight f6, developing his king's knight and taking control of the e4 square. Now, White can play knight f3, developing his king's knight. Black can play g6, with the idea of developing the king's bishop by fianchetto. Now, White can play bishop f4, with the idea of using the London system. Black plays bishop g7, developing his king's bishop and preparing to castle. White can play e3, continuing the typical London system pattern. Black can castle. White can play bishop e2, developing his king's bishop and preparing to castle. In the London system, when Black uses the king's fianchetto, White's bishop is better placed on e2 than on d3, since on d3 he would be up against a pawn wall, and he would also be exposed to a possible attack when Black advances in the center with e5 and e4. Black can play d6, completing his King's Indian defense scheme. The black pawn will be very well placed on d6, since it controls the e5 square and blocks the action of the London bishop on f4. The white bishop will be completely passive. Once Black has placed his pawn on d6, he is already threatening knight h5 to hunt down the white bishop. For example, it would now be a mistake to castle, as Black plays knight h5 attacking the enemy bishop. After bishop g5, Black can play h6, attacking the opponent's bishop again. After bishop h4, Black plays g5, chasing the bishop. After bishop g3, Black can already capture on g3, eliminating the powerful London bishop. Or, he can play f5 first and have an advantage. For example, in case of h3, to create an escape square for the bishop, Black can capture on g3. And after f takes g3. Knight c6, Black is much better off. After the move d6, the best option for White is h3, creating a retreat square for the bishop and thus being able to keep his London bishop. A typical position has been reached which can be reached from different orders of moves. But the important thing is not the specific order of the moves, but rather understanding the concepts. Black has followed the typical pattern of the King's Indian defense. The d6 pawn completely nullifies the action of the London bishop and at the same time prevents the white knight from jumping to the e5 square. Now Black can play b6. He can develop his queen's bishop to the b7 square, his queen's knight can go to d7 and then prepare the break in the center with e5. Now White can castle. Black plays bishop b7. Then he can follow up with knight d7. Black can then jump with his knight to the e4 square. He can continue with moves like e6, queen e7, and finally prepare the break in the center with e5. In the following video we will study a very illustrative master game, in which we will be able to see how easily Black can win the game.